I took the job because Miguel called me 3 times in 1 week. That was pretty much it. Stella's landlord had my number from when I'd co-signed her lease 2 years back, and now he was using it. The first call I let go to voicemail. The second one too. By the third I picked up, and he didn't waste time on small talk. Just told me Stella was 2 months behind, and if I wanted to help my sister, I'd better figure something out fast. I didn't have anything figured out. I'd been doing gig work since July. Grocery deliveries mostly, some furniture assembly when I could get it. The pay was garbage and the schedule was a mess. I was sleeping on a friend's couch in Albuquerque, and that situation had maybe 2 weeks left before it got weird. Stella kept saying she was fine, that she'd pick up more shifts at the coffee place, but I knew what her paychecks looked like. She sent me a photo of one once by accident. It had her hours right there on the stub. 22 hours that week. So when the Super 8 job popped up on Indeed, I applied before I'd even finished reading the listing. Night auditor, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 4 nights a week. It paid $12.50 an hour, which wasn't great, but it was steady. The listing said immediate hire and minimal experience required, which usually means desperate. That was fine. I was desperate too. They called me the next day. I did a phone interview with someone who sounded half asleep, answered maybe 5 questions, and got offered the position by the end of the call. The guy said I'd start training on Thursday. I said sure. He said the location was outside Truth or Consequences, about an hour south of Socorro, right off I-25. I said that was fine, even though I didn't have a car. I figured I'd work that part out later. Turned out my friend's cousin was driving down to Las Cruces that week and didn't mind the detour. He dropped me at the motel a little after 10 p.m. on Thursday, and I stood in the parking lot with my backpack and watched his taillights disappear back toward the interstate. The Super 8 sat maybe half a mile off the highway, close enough to see the exit sign, far enough that you wouldn't just stumble onto it. The building was 2 stories, painted that beige-yellow color every budget motel uses, with the Wyndham logo on a tall sign out front. The lot was mostly empty. I counted 6 cars total, spread out across maybe 50 spaces. The street lights were that orange kind that make everything look sickly, and past the edge of the lot there was just flat desert. Scrub brush and dirt going on forever. No other buildings, no gas station, nothing. It felt cut off. That's the best way I can describe it. Like someone had picked up a normal roadside motel and dropped it out here by mistake. I walked across the lot and pushed through the front door into the lobby. It was warmer inside, but not by much. The AC was running loud enough that I heard it before I felt it. The lobby was small. A desk straight ahead with a computer and one of those old credit card machines. A couple of chairs near the window. A breakfast area off to the left with a waffle maker and some cabinets. Everything looked clean but worn down. The carpet had that flattened look from too many years of foot traffic. A woman stood behind the desk. Mid-40s maybe, black hair cut straight at her shoulders, sharp eyes that looked me over once and then dismissed me. She wore a blazer over a polo shirt with the motel logo on it. Her name tag said Lisa. "Arlo Harper?" she said. "Yeah. You're on time. Good." She didn't smile, just pulled a clipboard from under the desk and set it down. "I'm Lisa Kelly, General Manager. I'll be training you tonight, and then you're on your own starting tomorrow." 1 night of training. Great. "Okay," I said. She slid the clipboard toward me. "Fill this out, front and back. I need your ID and social security card." I dug both out of my wallet and handed them over, then started on the paperwork. It was the usual stuff. Emergency contact, direct deposit info, tax forms. I put Stella down as my contact, even though that felt kind of pointless. If something happened to me, she wasn't in a position to help. Lisa made copies of my documents at a machine behind the desk, moving fast and efficient, like she'd done this 1,000 times and hated every second. When I finished the form, she took the clipboard back, scanned the pages, and nodded once. "Fine," she said. "Come on." She walked out from behind the desk, and I followed her. She moved quickly, didn't look back to check if I was keeping up. First, she showed me the desk setup. The computer system for check-ins, the keycard printer, the cash drawer. She talked fast, rattling off passwords and procedures without pausing. I tried to keep up, but half of it blurred together. "You won't get many walk-ins at night," she said. "Most people book online. If someone does show up, run their card first. If it doesn't go through, no room. Don't make exceptions." "Got it." "Phone's going to ring. Guest complaints, usually. Noise, AC not working, whatever. You log it here." She tapped a notebook next to the computer. "Don't promise anything. Just write it down and tell them I'll handle it in the morning." Okay. She walked me to the laundry room next. It was down a side hall past the breakfast area, just a closet-sized space with 2 washers and 2 dryers. Shelves stacked with towels and sheets. Everything smelled like detergent and bleach. "You'll need to run loads if we're low on stock," Lisa said. "Check the shelves at midnight and 4 a.m. If we're under 20 towels, start a load." 20, I repeated. Towels. Sheets don't matter as much. Housekeeping handles those during the day. We went to the back office after that. It was behind the desk, barely big enough for the metal desk and filing cabinet shoved inside. A monitor on the desk showed a grid of camera feeds, parking lot, lobby, side doors, hallways, all grainy and washed out. "You check these every hour," Lisa said. "Make sure no one's where they shouldn't be. If you see anything off, you call me. Number's on the desk." "What counts as off?" I asked. She looked at me. Her expression didn't change. "You'll know." That didn't make me feel great, but I nodded. She showed me a few more things. Where the cleaning supplies were. How to reset a key card if a guest locked themselves out. How to handle the drawer if I needed to give change. It was all practical stuff. The kind of thing you'd expect from a front desk job. But she went through it so fast I knew I'd forget half of it by tomorrow. We ended up back at the front desk a little before 11. Lisa pulled a laminated sheet from a drawer and set it on the counter between us. The title at the top said, "Night Rules," in bold black letters. I looked at it, then at her. "Is this a joke?" I said. "No. It's like a hazing thing, right? For new hires?" "No." She slid the paper closer to me. "You follow these. Every night. Exactly how they're written." I scanned the list. There were maybe a dozen lines, single-spaced. Some of it sounded normal. Lock the side doors at 11:15. Run the audit report at 3 a.m. But other lines didn't make sense. Don't make eye contact with anyone in the parking lot after midnight. If the phone rings and no one speaks, hang up and unplug it for 10 minutes. "This is serious?" I said. "Yes. These rules. Mandatory," Lisa said. She wasn't smiling, wasn't blinking. "You don't follow them, you won't last. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm telling you how it is." I looked down at the paper again. My first instinct was to laugh, but something in her voice stopped me. She wasn't joking. There wasn't any warmth in her face, but there wasn't any meanness either. She just looked tired. "Okay," I said. "You understand?" "Yeah, I got it." She held my eyes for another second, then nodded. "Good. Your shift starts now. I'll be back at 7 a.m. You have my number if something happens." She grabbed her bag from under the desk and walked toward the door. Stopped halfway and turned back. "Arlo," she said. "Yeah? Don't test it, just follow the list." Then she left. I stood there in the empty lobby, the AC humming overhead, and looked down at the laminated sheet sitting in front of me. The rules were right there, numbered 1 through 12. I'd agreed to this. Played along, acted like it was fine. Because I needed the paycheck. Because Miguel was calling, and Stella couldn't cover rent, and I didn't have another option. But standing there alone, the fluorescent lights buzzing too loud and the desert pressing in dark outside the windows, I felt something settle in my gut. Unease, maybe. the sense that I'd signed up for something I didn't understand. This wasn't going to be a quiet overnight shift. This was follow the instructions or get wrecked. I pulled the paper closer and started reading from the top. I'd been standing behind that desk for maybe 15 minutes when the phone rang. The caller ID said Kelly L. I picked up on the second ring. Harper. Lisa's voice sounded farther away than it should have, with that weird hollow quality phones get when someone's calling from their couch instead of an office. "You read the list yet?" I glanced down at the laminated sheet. I'd set it on the counter but hadn't really looked at it since she left. Not all of it. "Do that now." I was going to... "Now," she said. "Read every line. I'm not joking." I pulled the sheet closer. The fluorescent light above the desk hummed louder than it should have. "Okay, I'm reading it." Out loud. That threw me. "You want me to read it to you?" "I want to make sure you actually do it." She paused. I heard something that might have been a TV in the background. "Because if you treat this like some kind of game, I'm marking you as a no-call and you won't get paid for tonight. Or any night." My chest tightened. I needed this job. Needed it bad enough that I'd taken a ride from a stranger's cousin to the middle of nowhere for $12.50 an hour. I'm not treating it like a game. "Good, then read." I sat down in the office chair behind the desk and pulled the lamp closer. The list had 9 rules total, each one numbered in bold with a timestamp next to it. They were single-spaced, printed in that generic office font that makes everything look official, even when it probably isn't. "Rule 1, I said. "No walk-ins after 11:11 p.m. If someone tries to check in after that time, tell them we're fully booked. Do not check the system. Do not offer alternatives." Lisa didn't say anything, so I kept going. "Rule 2, if the phone rings 3 times, stops, then rings twice more within 30 seconds, do not answer it. Let it go to voicemail. Do not listen to the voicemail." I stopped. "Lisa, what? Keep reading." I exhaled through my nose and looked back down. "Rule 3. Room 209 must remain empty every night, even if the system shows it as booked. If a guest claims they reserved 209, assign them a different room and comp the first night. Do not go into 209 for any reason." The rules were getting worse. I could feel it in my stomach, that slow pull of something being very wrong. Rule 4. Between 1:13 a.m. and 1:26 a.m., do not look directly at any mirrors. This includes restroom mirrors, decorative mirrors, and reflective surfaces on vending machines. If you need to move during this time, keep your eyes forward. I stopped again. "This is not a joke," Lisa said. Her voice was flat. "Keep going." I rubbed my eyes. The lamp was too bright and also somehow not bright enough. Rule 5. If a guest calls and asks for towels between midnight and 6 a.m., deliver exactly 1 towel to their room. Do not ask how many they need. Do not bring extra. 1 towel only. "Good," Lisa said. 4 more. I didn't want to read 4 more. I wanted to walk out the front door and call my friend's cousin to come pick me up. But Miguel's voice was in my head, and Stella's rent was 2 months overdue, and I had maybe $300 total in my checking account. "Rule 6, I said. If anyone asks for the master key, including staff or maintenance, refuse. The master key stays in the lockbox behind the desk at all times. Do not open the lockbox between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. 7. If something on the security monitor looks directly at the camera, cover the screen with the black cloth in the desk drawer. Do not look at the monitor again until 30 minutes have passed. Do not rewind the footage." My mouth was dry. I swallowed and kept going. "Rule 8. If a guest tries to pay with a key card from another hotel, take the card and freeze it in the ice machine out back. Do not return it. Do not ask questions." "Last one," Lisa said. "Rule 9. If you receive a call or message from Lisa Kelly after 2 a.m., do not respond. Lisa Kelly does not contact night staff after 2 a.m. for any reason. Treat all such communication as false. The line went quiet for a few seconds. I could still hear the TV in the background, some kind of talk show with a laugh track. "You get all that?" Lisa asked. "Yeah. You believe me now?" I looked at the list again. At the specific times, 1:13 to 1:26, 11:11, 2 a.m. None of it made sense, but it was detailed enough that someone had spent real time putting it together. And Lisa's voice didn't sound like she was messing with me. She sounded tired, maybe even a little worried. "I don't know what I believe," I said. "That's fine. You don't have to believe it. You just have to follow it." She paused. "Every single rule. Exactly as written, no exceptions. And if I don't, then you won't finish the shift," she said. "And I'll be looking for someone new tomorrow." I wanted to ask what that meant. If it was a threat or a warning or something worse, but part of me already knew I wouldn't get a real answer. "Okay," I said. "Okay, you'll follow them, or okay, you heard me." "Both." Lisa was quiet again. Then she said, "Good, I'll see you at 7, and hung up. I set the phone down and stared at the laminated sheet under the desk lamp. 9 rules. Some of them were weird but manageable. Don't take walk-ins after a specific time. Keep a room empty. Deliver 1 towel. But the rest of them, mirrors, key cards from other hotels, something looking at the camera. I hated all of it. The whole thing felt wrong in a way I couldn't name. But I also couldn't afford to quit. Not tonight. Not with Stella's rent hanging over me and my friend's couch running out of time, and my bank account sitting at basically nothing. I folded my arms on the desk and looked out at the parking lot through the front windows. 6 cars, orange streetlights, flat desert past the pavement. I had 8 hours left on this shift. I really needed the money. I figured I'd have at least an hour before anything weird happened. That lasted about 15 minutes. The knock came hard enough I heard it over the AC. 3 solid raps on the glass front doors, the kind that make you look up automatically. I did. A woman stood outside under the orange parking lot lights, one hand still raised from knocking. She was maybe early 30s, blonde hair tucked under a dark windbreaker hood, holding her phone out in front of her chest with both hands. The phone looked dead, screen totally black. She saw me looking and gestured with the phone, then pointed toward the road. Mouthed something I couldn't make out through the glass. I stood up from the desk chair. My hand went to the door lock before I even thought about it, that automatic thing you do when someone's waiting to come in. I was maybe 2 steps from the doors when I glanced at the register. 11:12 p.m. I stopped. My hand was still halfway extended toward the lock. The rule sheet was back on the desk where I'd left it after Lisa hung up, but I didn't need to reread it. Rule 1. No walk-ins after 11:11. Don't check the system, don't offer alternatives, just say we're fully booked. The woman knocked again. Lighter this time, more of a tap. She held up the phone again and pointed at it, then made a steering wheel gesture with her hands. Car trouble, probably. Phone dead. Just needed a room. I pulled my hand back and walked up to the glass, but didn't unlock it. She leaned closer. I could see her face better now. Pale skin, light eyes, maybe blue or gray, long face. She looked normal, tired, kind of stressed. The way anyone would look if their car broke down out here in the middle of nowhere at 11 at night. She said something. I caught broke down and just a few hours. I shook my head and pointed back at the desk. She frowned, confused. I walked back and grabbed the laminated rule sheet, brought it to the door and held it up so she could see it. Tapped the first rule with my finger. Night rules in bold at the top. Rule 1 right below it. She squinted at it. I don't know if she could actually read it through the glass and the glare from the fluorescent lights inside, but I figured the gesture was clear enough. Rules. Can't let you in. Not my choice. For a second, she just stood there looking at the sheet. Then her eyes came back to my face, and something changed. It wasn't dramatic. She didn't transform or grow fangs or anything out of a movie. But her expression went flat, completely smooth, like her face had been showing normal human stress and confusion, and then someone just turned all of that off. Her mouth was still closed. Her eyes were still looking at me, but there was nothing behind them. No frustration, no pleading, no emotion at all. It bugged me more than if she'd gotten angry. She stayed like that for maybe 3 seconds. Then she leaned forward, closer to the glass, and breathed out. The fog spread across the door in a wide cloud, bigger than her mouth, bigger than seemed right for one breath. And in the center of the fog, pressed against the glass, was a print. It looked like a handprint. 5 fingers, palm, all of it. But her hands were still down at her sides, holding the phone. And the print was too big, way too big. Each finger maybe 7 or 8 inches long, palm the size of a dinner plate. I stepped back from the door. The woman, Jane, I guess, if that was even her real name, straightened up. Her face was still blank. She looked at me for another second, then turned and walked away. Not toward the parking lot, not toward the road or the highway exit, or any of the 6 cars still sitting under the orange lights. She walked along the front of the building, past the windows, and turned the corner toward the side, toward the back, where the dumpsters were, where there was nothing but flat desert and dark. I went to the window and watched. She didn't hesitate, didn't look back, just kept walking at the same even pace until the shadows behind the building swallowed her up. Gone. I stood there staring at the empty dark for a minute, maybe longer. My heart was doing that thing where it beats too hard but not too fast, each thump distinct and uncomfortable. The handprint was still on the glass. The fog had mostly faded, but the print stayed, smudged and huge and wrong. I didn't go outside to check where she went. That seemed like the kind of thing the rules would tell me not to do if they'd thought anyone would be dumb enough to try it. I went back to the desk and sat down, pulled the chair in close. The AC hummed. The fluorescent lights buzzed. The parking lot stayed empty and orange. I checked the time on the register. 11:14 p.m. 2 minutes. The whole thing took 2 minutes. I picked up the rule sheet and read Rule 1 again, just to make sure I'd done it right. Do not admit walk-ins after 11:11 p.m. If someone requests a room after this time, state that you are fully booked. Do not check the system. Do not offer alternatives. Do not unlock the doors. I hadn't unlocked the doors. Hadn't checked the system. I'd followed it exactly. The register clicked over to 11:15. I was thinking about the handprint, about whether I should clean it off or leave it, when the phone rang. 2 rings, sharp and loud in the quiet lobby. Then it stopped. I looked at it. Standard desk phone, beige coiled cord, little red message light that wasn't blinking. Caller ID screen was dark. I waited. 5 seconds. 10. It rang again, once. Just one ring, then silence. My whole body went tight. Rule 2. If the phone rings 3 times, stops, then rings twice more within 30 seconds, don't answer. Let it go to voicemail. Don't listen to the voicemail. This had been 2 rings, pause, then 1 ring. Close, really close, but not the same pattern. I kept my hands on the desk, away from the phone. My brain was doing that thing where it tries to logic its way out of fear. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe it was a guest calling from their room and they hung up. Maybe the line cut out. Maybe it was something checking to see if I knew the rules. The phone didn't ring again. I sat there, hands flat on the desk, watching the phone and the dark windows and the clock on the register. 11:16. 11:17. Nothing moved outside. No cars pulled in. No one walked past the windows. The handprint on the glass was still there, faint but visible when the light hit it right. I kept my hands off the phone. The AC kicked on harder and I realized I was cold. I kept my hands flat on the desk for another minute, maybe longer. The phone stayed quiet, and the handprint stayed on the glass, and I stayed right where I was. Then the computer chimed. Not loud. Just a single soft bell tone from the booking system, the kind that plays when a new reservation comes through. I'd heard it twice during training when Lisa was showing me how walk-ins worked, back when I thought this was going to be a normal job. I looked at the monitor. The reservation screen had opened on its own, white text on that old blue background motels always use. A new booking, prepaid. Check-in today, 11:17 p.m., room 209. I stared at it. The name field was blank, not guest or NA, or even a string of question marks. Just empty space where a name should have been, like someone had hit submit without filling out the form. The reservation listed 1 night, 1 guest, king bed, standard rate, payment confirmed. I pulled the laminated sheet closer and reread Rule 3. Room 209 stays empty every night, no matter what the system says. If a guest claims a reservation for 209, assign a different room and comp the first night. Never enter 209. The rule didn't say what to do if the system made the reservation itself. I sat there looking at the screen, then at the rule sheet, then back at the screen. My mouth felt dry. The reservation just sat there with its blank name field and its prepaid status, and its little green check mark saying everything was fine. I clicked into the room management screen and found 209 in the second floor grid. It showed vacant and ready. I right-clicked it, scrolled down to Mark Out of Order, and selected it. A pop-up asked for a reason. I typed maintenance because that seemed safe and neutral and I couldn't think of what else to put. I hit enter. The pop-up closed. The room grid updated, showing 209 with a red X now instead of green. Out of order. Unavailable. I tabbed back to the reservation screen. It was gone. Not canceled. Not moved to a different room. Just gone. The whole entry had disappeared like I'd imagined it, like it had never been there at all. I checked the reservation list for tonight. 2 rooms occupied, both checked in this afternoon before my shift. I checked tomorrow night. Nothing. I checked the canceled reservations log. Empty. I leaned back in the chair and looked at the monitor for a long time. The system hummed quietly. The AC kicked on again. Outside, the parking lot stayed empty except for those same 6 cars under the orange lights. I figured I'd done it right, followed the rule. Room 209 stayed empty, and the reservation went away, and that was it. Probably. Nothing happened for a while after that. I checked the cameras at midnight, like Lisa said, grainy feeds showing hallways and side doors and the parking lot. No one in the halls, no one by the dumpsters. The front entrance feed showed the handprint still on the glass, big and smudged and wrong. I logged the towel inventory. 23 on the shelf. Didn't need to start a load yet. At 12:03, the front doors opened. I didn't hear them unlock. Didn't hear the click or the handle turning or anything. I was looking down at the log notebook, and when I looked up, there was a guy in scrubs standing just inside the lobby like he'd been there the whole time. Tall, maybe 6'1". Sandy brown hair cut short, square face, light skin. He wore those blue medical scrubs, the cheap kind that wrinkle easy, and a laminated ID badge clipped to his chest pocket. He smiled at me, polite and professional, and walked up to the desk. "Evening," he said. His voice was calm, smooth, the kind of voice that's used to people listening. "Sorry to bother you. I'm with County EMS. Got a call about a possible gas smell in one of the rooms. I just looked at him." He tapped the ID badge. "Stephen Thompson. We're doing a quick check, shouldn't take long. Have you noticed anything? Sulfur smell? Rotten eggs? Anything unusual?" I didn't smell anything except the same recycled air and cleaning chemicals the lobby had smelled like all night. I shook my head. "No, nothing. Good, good." He nodded, still smiling. "Probably a false alarm, but we've got to check anyway. Liability and all that." He glanced past me toward the hallway that led to the elevator, then toward the side hall, then back at me. His eyes moved like he was expecting someone else to show up. Backup, maybe. Or an audience. I stood up from the chair. Which room called it in? He blinked. Didn't get a room number. Call came through the non-emergency line. Might have been a neighbor, actually. Sometimes the smell carries. We're half a mile from anything else. His smile didn't change. Well, you know how it is. People get worried. I looked at his badge. It was clipped crooked, and the photo on it didn't look right. Too blurry. The face was just a smear of skin tones and shadows, like someone had taken the picture through fogged glass. The name underneath, Stephen Thompson, looked smudged, too. Letters bleeding into each other like the plastic had gotten wet. "Maintenance closets down that hall," I said, pointing toward the side hallway past the breakfast area. "Shut-off valves are in there. I can call the fire department if you want. They've got the meters." "Oh, that's not necessary." He waved a hand. "I've got a detector in the truck. Just need to do a quick sweep of the rooms." He looked at me, still smiling. "You've got a master key, right? I'll just run through the halls, check the meter readings. 10 minutes, tops." I thought about Rule 6. Master key stays in the lockbox behind the desk. Don't open the lockbox between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. Don't give the master key to anyone, including staff or maintenance. "Can't do that," I said. His smile slipped. Just a little. Just at the edges. "It's a safety issue." "I know. That's why I'm offering to call the fire department. They've got access and equipment." "I'm county EMS. I am the safety equipment." "Then you don't need my key." We looked at each other. His face stayed polite, but his eyes went flat. The same way Jane's had out by the door. Empty. Waiting. He tilted his head. "You always this difficult?" "I'm following policy." "Whose policy?" "The motel's." He smiled again, but it didn't reach his eyes this time. "Right, okay. Tell you what, I'll check the outside meters first. See if I pick anything up from there. If I do, I'll come back and we'll figure it out. Sound good?" I didn't say anything. "Great." He straightened his badge, glanced one more time toward the hallway, then turned and walked back toward the front doors. They opened before he touched them. He stepped through, and they swung shut behind him, and I watched through the glass as he crossed the parking lot. He didn't go toward the road, didn't go toward any of the 6 cars. He walked along the front of the building, past the windows, turned the corner toward the side, and kept going. Same direction Jane went. Same route, same pace, same way of just walking into the flat desert dark like there was something out there worth walking toward. I stood at the desk and watched until he disappeared completely. The phone rang at 12:37. I'd been sitting there for over an hour doing nothing except watching the parking lot and trying not to look at the handprint on the glass. The sound made me flinch anyway. I picked up on the second ring. Front desk. "Hey." Male voice. Sounded tired but not weird. Just a regular guest voice. "Could I get some towels?" That was it. No explanation, no story about a shower or a spill. Just the request. I pulled the laminated sheet closer, even though I'd already read Rule 5 about 6 times since Lisa made me recite the whole thing. "Sure. What room?" 214. I wrote it down on the notepad by the phone, even though I didn't really need to. 214, second floor. "I'll bring one up." "Thanks." He hung up. I sat there holding the receiver for a second before putting it back. The whole interaction had been completely normal, polite even. That part bugged me a little. After Jane and the handprint and Thompson walking into the desert, I'd kind of expected anything that happened next to be obviously wrong. But the guy on the phone just sounded like a regular tired guest who needed a towel, which almost made it worse. I stood up and checked the rule sheet one more time. Rule 5. If a guest requests towels between midnight and 6 a.m., deliver exactly 1 towel. Don't ask how many they need. Don't bring extra. The exactly 1 part was underlined on the laminated sheet. I hadn't noticed that before. I left the desk and headed down the side hall, past the breakfast area to the laundry closet. The fluorescent light in there flickered twice before staying on. The shelves still had 23 towels folded in those tight rectangles. Housekeeping does that. I've never figured out how to copy. I grabbed one from the middle of the stack. It was warm from sitting under the vent. One towel, that was it. I walked back through the lobby and stopped at the desk long enough to make sure the rule sheet was visible if I needed to see it when I got back. Then I headed for the elevator. The hallway to the elevator was just beige wallpaper with a pattern that looked like someone spilled the same coffee stain every 12 inches. The carpet was dark red with gold diamonds. It smelled like cleaning solution, and something under that, something stale. I hit the elevator button and waited. The towel was still warm in my hands. I counted the seconds, 11 of them before the elevator dinged and the doors slid open. Inside was just an elevator. Beige walls, metal handrail, inspection certificate from 2 years ago framed by the button panel. I stepped in and pressed 2. The ride up took maybe 10 seconds, but it felt longer. I kept my eyes on the floor numbers lighting up above the door. 1 went dark, 2 lit up. The elevator stopped with a small jolt and the doors opened. Second floor hallway. Same carpet as downstairs. Same wallpaper. The lighting was dimmer up here though. Only every third ceiling fixture was on, and they all had that yellow energy saver tint that makes everything look kind of sick. I stepped out and the elevator doors closed behind me. The hall went left and right. Room 214 would be to the right based on the number. I turned that way and started walking. Past 201 on my left, 203 on my right, 205 on my left, then 207, then 209. The door was cracked open, just an inch, maybe less, but definitely open. I stopped walking. I was maybe 15 feet away from it, standing in the middle of the hallway with a towel in my hands and my heart doing that thing where it beats hard enough you can feel it in your throat. I'd marked 209 out of order. I'd watched the system update with the red X. The room was supposed to be empty and locked. Cold air rolled out through the gap. Not AC cold, wet cold. The kind you get near a lake early in the morning before the sun burns it off. And a smell. Faint but there. Lake water. That algae and mud and old wood smell. I didn't move closer. I just stood there looking at the crack in the door and the darkness on the other side. The gap was too narrow to see anything except black. But the cold kept coming, and the smell got a little stronger the longer I stood there. Rule 3 said never enter 209. It didn't say anything about what to do if the door was already open. I looked down at the towel in my hands. Room 214. That's where I was going. That's what I needed to do. I kept my eyes off the opening and started walking again. It took maybe 6 steps to pass 209. I kept my head straight and my eyes on the carpet 3 feet in front of me. The cold air brushed my left arm as I went by. The wet smell got thick enough to taste for just a second. Then I was past it. 211 on my right, 213 on my left, 214 on my right. I stopped in front of the door and knocked twice. The towel was still warm, but my hands weren't. Footsteps inside. Slow ones, just a couple. The door opened. Not all the way. Just enough for a hand to come through. The hand was pale, narrow, long fingers, and rings. Not 1 or 2, maybe 7 or 8 of them spread across the fingers. All identical. Thin silver bands that caught the yellow hallway light the same way on every single one. Same width, same color, same angle. I didn't see a face, didn't see an arm past the wrist. Just the hand reaching out through the gap, palm up, waiting. I put the towel in it. The fingers closed around the fabric. The hand pulled back. The door shut. No voice, no thank you, nothing. I stood there for a second staring at the door. Room 214. Beige paint. Brass numbers. Peephole that looked black from this side. Then I turned around and headed back toward the elevator. I didn't walk fast. I kept it normal, even, like I was just finishing a task. Past 2:13, 2:11, 2:09 was still cracked open. I didn't look. Kept my eyes forward and my pace steady and my breathing as quiet as I could. Then I was past it again, and the cold faded and the smell thinned out. 2:07, 2:05, 2:03. The ice machine was at the end of the hall near the elevator. I'd seen it on the camera feeds earlier. Just a standard commercial unit built into the wall with a plastic bin and a metal chute. I stopped next to it and pulled my phone out of my pocket to check the time. 1:12 a.m. My brain did the math before I wanted it to. Rule 4. Don't look directly at mirrors or reflective surfaces between 1:13 and 1:26. Keep eyes forward if moving during that time. I had 1 minute. I looked up. The hallway stretched back the way I'd come. At the far end, past 2:01, there was a window. Except it wasn't a window. It was too dark outside to see anything, which meant the glass was just a black reflective surface. A mirror. 1:13. I dropped my gaze to the carpet and hit the elevator button without looking at the panel. Just reached out and pressed where I knew it should be. Then I waited. 5 seconds. 10. The elevator didn't ding. I kept my eyes on the red and gold diamond pattern under my feet. The lighting made the gold look brown. 15 seconds. Still nothing. I swallowed and started walking toward the stairs instead. I didn't know exactly where they were, but they had to be past the elevator somewhere. I kept my head down and my eyes on the carpet, watching my shoes move through my peripheral vision. My right hand found the wall. I slid my palm along the wallpaper, feeling the seam every few feet where the panels met. The texture was rough, textured, some kind of fake fabric print. Behind me, something clunked. I didn't stop walking, didn't turn around, just kept my hand on the wall and my eyes on the floor and my feet moving forward. Something scraped. Metal on tile, maybe, or wood on linoleum. Hard to tell. The sound came from back near the ice machine, or past it, toward the window that wasn't a window. I focused on the wallpaper seam under my fingers and the carpet pattern passing under my feet and nothing else. I found the stairs halfway down the hall, still looking at the carpet. My hand hit the door bar and I pushed through, keeping my head angled down toward the steps. The stairwell smelled like concrete and cleaning products. I took the stairs one at a time, right hand on the rail, eyes on my shoes. Probably took me twice as long as it should have. Didn't care. Rule 4 said, don't look at mirrors or reflective surfaces between 1:13 and 1:26. Didn't say anything about being slow. The ground floor door had a small window at eye level. I kept my gaze low, pushed through into the side hallway, and made it back to the front desk at 1:15 according to my phone. 11 minutes left in the restricted window. I stayed behind the desk with my eyes on the laminated rule sheet, the keyboard, the pen cup. Anything that wasn't reflective. The computer monitor showed the booking system, but I didn't look at the security camera feeds. Not yet. At 1:27, I finally looked up. The monitor sat on the corner of the desk where Lisa had shown me earlier, displaying 4 grainy camera feeds in a grid. I clicked on the back lot view, and it filled the screen. The image quality was terrible, all washed out grays and blacks under the weak lighting back there. But I could see the dumpsters and a slice of desert beyond the pavement. 2 people stood between the dumpsters. Jane. Had to be her. Same dark windbreaker, same build. Blonde hair still tucked under the hood. And Stephen Thompson. Still in scrubs, standing maybe 3 feet away from her. They faced each other like they were talking, but neither of their mouths moved. Just standing there. Completely still. Not even shifting weight or gesturing or anything people normally do when they're having a conversation. I leaned closer to the screen. Their heads turned. Both of them. At exactly the same time, same speed, same angle. Synchronized. They turned and looked directly at the camera. My stomach dropped. Rule 7. If something looks directly at camera, cover monitor with black cloth from desk drawer. Don't look at monitor again for 30 minutes. Don't rewind footage. I yanked the desk drawer open. No black cloth inside. Just pens, sticky notes, a stapler, some loose change, a phone charger with a frayed cord. Jane and Stephen kept staring at the camera. Didn't blink. Didn't move. I grabbed the desk blotter, one of those big rectangular leather things that's supposed to protect the wood, and slapped it over the monitor. It covered the whole screen, blocking the feeds completely. My hands were shaking a little. I checked my phone. 1:29. 30 minutes. I couldn't look at the monitor again until 1:59. I sat back in the chair and stared at the blotter, which was a stupid thing to do, but I didn't know where else to look. The AC hummed. The fluorescent lights buzzed. The parking lot outside stayed empty under the orange street lights. At 1:38, the phone rang twice, stopped, then rang once. Same pattern as before. Not the prohibited pattern from Rule 2, but close enough to make my chest tight. I kept my hands flat on the desk and didn't touch it. The ringing stopped. Silence for maybe 20 seconds. Then something slid under the back office door. The sound was quiet. Just a soft scraping noise, plastic on tile. But I heard it clearly because everything else was so still. I turned in the chair. The back office door was right behind the desk, maybe 6 feet away. A thin piece of plastic sat on the floor just inside the gap at the bottom. I got up and walked over, crouched down. It was a key card. Hotel key card. White plastic with a magnetic strip and a logo printed on the front. Best Western, Albuquerque. Not a Super 8 card. Not even the same brand. I didn't touch it. Just stared at it for a second, then stood and grabbed the laminated rule sheet from the desk. Rule 8. If someone offers a key card from another hotel as payment, take it and freeze it in the ice machine out back. Don't return it. Don't ask questions. Nobody had offered this as payment. Nobody had handed it to me or left it at the desk. Someone, or something, had slid it under the door while I was sitting 10 feet away. But the rule said take it and freeze it. Didn't specify how I was supposed to receive it. I looked around for something to pick it up with. Didn't want to touch it directly. Don't know why. Just felt wrong. I grabbed a pen from the desk, crouched back down, and used the pen to slide the card toward me, then scooped it up so it balanced on the pen's length. The card was cold. Colder than it should have been sitting on the floor. The breakfast room was through the side hallway past the laundry closet. I carried the card on the pen like I was transporting something contaminated, which maybe I was. The breakfast room had the waffle maker, the cabinets, a microwave, and a small freezer tucked under the counter near the coffee station. I'd noticed it earlier when Lisa showed me around, but hadn't thought much about it. I opened the freezer. Rows of key cards sat inside, stacked in neat lines on the wire racks. Maybe 30 or 40 of them, all from different hotels. I recognized a Holiday Inn logo, a Motel 6, another Best Western, a Marriott, some I didn't know. They were organized, sorted by brand, looked like, all facing the same direction. I stood there holding the pen with the Albuquerque Best Western card balanced on it, staring at the rows. Other night auditors had done this. Before me, maybe for weeks, months, however long this place had been running the night shift with these rules. They'd all followed Rule 8, taken the cards, frozen them, left them here. Nobody had cleaned them out. Nobody had asked questions. I slid the card off the pen onto the top rack with the other Best Westerns. It landed with a quiet plastic click. Then I closed the freezer and walked back to the front desk, still holding the pen. My phone said 1:58. I sat down, waited 1 more minute, then lifted the desk blotter off the monitor. The back lot feed showed empty pavement. No dumpsters visible from this angle. They were farther to the left. But the slice of lot I could see was clear. No Jane, no Stephen Thompson, no one. I switched between camera views. Front entrance, handprints still on the glass, but no people. Side doors, empty. Hallways, empty. Parking lot, 6 cars still there under the orange lights. No movement. I exhaled. Didn't realize I'd been holding my breath. The relief lasted maybe 5 seconds. The phone rang 3 times, stopped, then twice more. I jerked my hand back from where it had been resting near the receiver. Rule 2. Exactly Rule 2. Don't answer. Let it go to voicemail. Don't listen to voicemail. The ringing stopped. The red message light on the phone blinked once, twice, then stayed solid. I stared at it. Then the front doors clicked. Not a knock. A click. The sound of someone trying the handle from outside, pushing down on it, testing the lock. Click, click, click. I looked at the glass doors. Nobody there. Just darkness and the orange parking lot lights beyond. The handle moved. I could see it from here. The lever tilting down, then up, then down again. No hand on it. Just the handle moving on its own. My heart kicked hard against my ribs. The clicking stopped. The handle went still. I sat at the desk with the rule sheet in front of me, the monitor showing empty feeds, the message light blinking on the phone, and the handprint still smudged on the front door glass. 1:59 a.m. The night kept going, each thing building on the last, stacking up. I had 5 more hours until 7. The phone stayed quiet for a while after that. I sat at the desk watching the monitor cycle through empty feeds. Parking lot, side doors, hallways, back lot, nothing moved. The handprint was still on the glass when the light hit it right. At 2:04 in the morning, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. Text message. The contact name showed as Lisa Kelly, which made sense because I'd saved her number after the first call. The message read, "Need you to check fire extinguisher gauge on 2nd floor by room 2R14. Should read full green zone. Let me know." I stared at the screen for a few seconds. The message sounded normal, completely reasonable. Fire safety, basic building maintenance, the kind of thing a manager would ask about during a night shift. I stood up and was halfway to the elevator before I stopped. Rule 9. I turned around, went back to the desk, and picked up the laminated sheet. Rule 9, second from the bottom. Lisa Kelly does not contact night staff after 2 a.m. for any reason. Treat all such communication as false. Do not respond. The timestamp on the text message showed 2:04 a.m., 4 minutes past the cutoff. I looked at my phone again. The message was still there. Same number I'd saved, same contact name. I pulled up the call log and checked the number against the one Lisa had called from earlier in the night. They matched. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my camera app, positioned the phone above the rule sheet on the desk, and took a clear photo showing all 9 rules with Rule 9 visible. I sent the photo to Lisa's number with no other text. 3 dots appeared immediately, like someone was typing. Then my phone buzzed again. This time it was a photo. The image showed me asleep at the front desk. My head was down on my arms, hair messy, face turned slightly toward the camera. The angle was from across the lobby, maybe 10 feet away. The timestamp in the corner read 2:03 a.m., 1 minute ago. But I wasn't asleep. I was standing right here holding my phone. And in the photo, the office chair I was sitting in faced the wrong direction. In real life, I'd kept it angled toward the lobby and the front windows. In the photo, the chair faced the hallway behind the desk, the dark hallway leading back toward the breakfast room and laundry closet. My hands went cold. I looked up from the phone and scanned the lobby. Empty. I turned and checked the hallway behind me. Nothing there, just the dark corridor and the half-open door to the breakfast room at the far end. I checked the monitor. All feeds showed empty spaces. I looked at the photo again. Definitely me. Definitely this desk. Definitely wrong. I set the phone face down on the desk and stepped back. Then I walked fast to the breakfast room, pushed through the half-open door, and went straight to the coffee station where the little wire rack held sugar, sweetener, and salt packets. I grabbed a whole handful of salt packets, maybe 15 or 20 of them, the paper kind that rip open at the corner. I went back to the office, crouched down in front of the threshold, and started ripping packets open one by one. I poured the salt in a line across the entire width of the doorway, right where the tile of the office met the carpet of the hallway. The salt made a thin, white line, maybe an inch wide. I used all the packets. When I finished, the line was solid and unbroken from one side of the door frame to the other. I didn't know if it would do anything. Probably wouldn't. But my mom used to keep salt by the doors when I was a kid, and Stella still did it at her apartment. Old superstition. Keeps things out. I figured it couldn't hurt. I stood up, brushed my hands off, and turned back toward the desk. The lights dimmed. Not off, just lower. Like someone had put them on a dial and turned it down halfway. The fluorescent panels in the ceiling stayed on, but the light coming from them thinned out, turning the lobby gray and flat. The air changed too, thicker, heavier. The AC was still running, but the air felt dense, like humidity, except it wasn't warm. It pressed against my chest when I breathed. Then I heard the footsteps, slow, careful, coming from the hallway behind me. Not the hallway leading to the breakfast room. The other one, the one that led to the side exit and the guest elevator. I turned and looked. The hallway was dark and empty, but I could hear the steps clearly. One every few seconds, the sound of weight compressing carpet, a faint creak of floorboards underneath. I moved to the monitor and clicked on the hallway camera feed. Nothing. Empty hallway. No one there. But I could still hear it. Closer now. Maybe 20 feet from the desk. I stepped back until my shoulders hit the wall behind the desk. I kept my eyes on the dark hallway opening. The footsteps continued. Steady. Unhurried. 15 feet. 10. I could see the carpet in the hallway entrance shifting slightly with each step, compressed, then released, like something invisible was walking on it. 5 feet. The footsteps stopped just outside the office doorway. I didn't move. I kept my back against the wall and my eyes forward. The air got colder. I waited. Nothing happened. At 3:09 in the morning, the back office doorknob turned. I watched the round brass knob rotate slowly clockwise, then stop. It stayed turned for 3 seconds, then rotated back to neutral. The salt line across the threshold didn't move. It stayed white and solid. The doorknob turned again, harder this time. The whole door rattled slightly in the frame. Still, the salt didn't move. Then the salt started turning black. It happened fast. The white grains darkened from one end of the line to the other, like something was burning them from underneath. In 5 seconds, the entire line had gone from white to charcoal black. But the line stayed intact, unbroken. A voice came from the lobby. "Arlo, it's Lisa. Let me in." I didn't turn around. I kept my eyes on the blackened salt line in the door. The voice continued, same tone, same cadence, exact match to Lisa Kelly's voice from the phone calls earlier. "I know you're scared, I get it, but you need to let me in so I can help you." I stayed quiet. "Your sister's landlord called again, Miguel. He's escalating. Says if Stella doesn't pay by Friday, he's filing eviction. That's 2 days from now." My chest tightened. "You've got $273 in your checking account. Rent's $900 a month. You're $800 short even if you cover just 1 month. Miguel wants both months plus late fees. That's $2,100 total." I pressed my shoulders harder against the wall. "You don't have a car. You're sleeping on Aaron's couch and he wants you out by next week. You've got no other options, Arlo. You need this job. You need the money. So open the door and let me help you finish the shift." The voice was perfect. Inflection, pacing, everything. If I closed my eyes, I'd swear Lisa Kelly was standing 15 feet away in the lobby. But Rule 9 said she doesn't contact night staff after 2 a.m. And I hadn't told anyone about Aaron's couch, or the exact amount in my checking account. "I know you're following the rules," the voice said. "That's good, that's smart, but the rules are for normal nights. Tonight's different. Things got out of hand, and I need to come in and reset the system. Just step over the Saul and unlock the door." I looked at the monitor. The lobby feed showed empty space. No one standing there. "Arlo, I'm losing patience. Open the door." I didn't move. The voice went quiet. Then I heard something else. A faint scraping sound from the lobby. Then a click. I turned my head slightly and saw the freezer. The breakfast room freezer, where I'd put the Best Western keycard an hour ago. The voice knew about the keycards. I moved fast. I went to the breakfast room, pulled the freezer open, and grabbed the trash bag from under the sink. The big black kind. I started pulling keycards out of the freezer in handfuls and dumping them into the bag. Holiday Inn, Motel 6, Marriott, Best Western, dozens of them. Cold and slick in my hands. I cleared the top rack, then the second, then the bottom. I grabbed every single card and shoved them all into the bag. The instant I dropped the last card in, the building erupted. Every light in the lobby snapped on full brightness. The ice machine behind me started dumping ice in a continuous roar. Doors slammed somewhere upstairs. The front doors rattled in their frames. The voice in the lobby laughed. Not Lisa's voice anymore. Something else. Lower. Flatter. "The rules only kept you useful," it said. "You were supposed to keep the freezer full. That's all you had to do." More slamming. The elevator dinged and the doors opened and closed 3 times fast. "Room 209 is waiting. You should go see what you've been keeping out." I tied the trash bag shut, held it tight, and walked back to the office doorway. I stepped over the blackened salt line carefully and stood just inside the office with my back to the desk. The lights kept flashing. The ice machine kept roaring. I checked the monitor. I made sure I was visible on the lobby camera feed. I positioned myself in frame and stayed there. I didn't cross the salt line again. I sat down in the office chair, pulled it close to the desk, and kept the trash bag on my lap. I watched the monitor. I watched the clock. The building kept going. Lights, ice, doors. The voice muttered things I couldn't make out. At 4:15, everything stopped. The lights went back to normal. The ice machine shut off. The doors stopped slamming. Silence. I stayed in the chair. I didn't move. At 6:07 in the morning, I heard a key in the front door lock. The doors opened and Lisa Kelly walked in. The real one. I knew because she moved normal. She walked across the lobby at a regular pace, carrying her blazer over one arm and a travel mug in the other hand. She stopped when she saw the salt line. She looked at it for a long time. Then she looked at me, sitting in the office with the trash bag on my lap. She didn't ask what happened. She set her blazer and mug down on the desk, took the trash bag from me without a word, and carried it outside to the parking lot. I watched through the window as she dumped the contents into a metal trash can by the side of the building, pulled a lighter from her pocket, and set the whole thing on fire. She stood there while it burned. 5 minutes, maybe longer. When she came back inside, she walked straight to the office and looked at the blackened salt line again. "The freezer has to stay full," she said. Her voice was quiet, tired. I stood up. "I quit," I said. She looked at me. Didn't argue, didn't try to talk me out of it. She just nodded, walked to the computer, and logged me out of the system. The printer behind the desk started up and spit out a single sheet of paper. She handed it to me. Timesheet. Showed I'd clocked in at 11 p.m. and out at 6:30 a.m. 7.5 hours at $12.50 an hour. $93.75 before taxes. Direct deposit takes 2 weeks, she said. I'll cut you a check today. You can pick it up tomorrow or I can mail it. Mail it, I said. She wrote something on a sticky note and put it in her pocket. I grabbed my jacket from the back of the chair and walked out. Aaron was still asleep when I called him at 6:45, but he answered and agreed to pick me up. He showed up an hour later in his cousin's car. I got in and didn't look back at the building. We drove north on I-25 in full daylight. The sun was up and the sky was clear and everything looked normal. Flat desert, scrub brush, exit signs. We hit Socorro by noon. I blocked Lisa Kelly's number in my contacts before we even got off the highway. I never went back. Miguel kept calling about Stella's rent. The money problems didn't go anywhere. I still didn't have a car or a place or anything figured out. But I didn't go back.